Imagine you are a monarch and a rival throws down an impossible question. When exactly does a fish drink water? This is the exact scenario that played out between two rival monarchs, King Vikram and King Pratap. Vikram offered a high-stakes wager: answer 3 riddles within 30 days or publicly admit that Vikram is the superior ruler. Instead of recognizing the absurdity of the challenge, King Pratap's pride took over. He accepted the bet on the spot, blind to the fact he was agreeing to a game with no logical solution. When leaders operate entirely out of ego, they walk into intellectual traps that allow no clean escape. Unable to solve the riddles himself, Pratap immediately shifts the burden down the chain of command. He gives his own minister a terrifying ultimatum: find the answers in 15 days or face execution alongside his entire family. The weight of the king's arrogance falls instantly on the innocent. To protect his bloodline, the terrified minister forces his young son, Abhay, to pack his bags, hide his identity, and flee into the night. The minister is paralyzed because he is trying to use standard, straightforward logic to solve a bad faith riddle. You cannot find the answer to an absurd question in a conventional textbook. Facing an unsolvable failure, absolute power rarely takes accountability. It simply delegates the fatal consequences downward to the most vulnerable people in the room. Abhay eventually arrives in a distant village, exhausted and thirsty. There, he crosses paths with Naina, a young peasant woman who happens to be testing potential suitors by speaking to them entirely in coded riddles. Naina requests an item hard outside but soft inside. Abhay decodes it: a coconut. Next, soft outside, hard inside, a date fruit. Finally, a sweet non-fruit and a round fried sweet. He instantly names sugar and a gulab jamun. Abhay recognizes something remarkable in Naina. She is applying lateral thinking, communicating literal truths through highly figurative language to filter out anyone who can't keep up. Intellect functions independently of status. It relies on the ability to dismantle the rules of observation and see what others miss. Seeing her brilliant mind at work, Abhay drops his disguise. He confesses his true identity, explains the death threat hanging over his family, and offers to marry her if she can help him solve the rival king's impossible riddles. Naina agrees, but she lays down a very specific condition. She guarantees she will provide the answers, but she demands 2 days and nights of completely unrestricted, unmonitored access to King Vikram's palace. Naina recognizes that an illogical question asked in bad faith cannot be solved by a textbook. The answer doesn't live in a library. She goes straight to the source. She infiltrates the palace at night, quietly walking the corridors, observing the hidden secrets of the royal court. Lateral thinkers bypass unsolvable problems by stepping outside the parameters of the question itself, investigating the environment and the hidden motivations of the person asking it. The deadline arrives and the courtroom is packed. Naina, a peasant woman, stands before the highly arrogant King Vikram to deliver the answers that will either save or doom her new family. The king throws out his first riddle. What goes up but never comes down? Naina answers flawlessly and immediately. H. He follows up with the second. What is the most valuable thing in the world that cannot be bought? Her answer is equally swift. Time. These answers are safe, predictable, and flattering. They convince the king that he remains the smartest person in the room. Answering the easy questions correctly doesn't win the game. It simply sets the trap, lulling the opponent into a state of overconfidence right before the final confrontation. Basking in his perceived superiority, the king triumphantly demands the answer to his final, impossible riddle. When does a fish drink water? Naina doesn't give a zoological answer. Instead, she pivots entirely, requesting that the queen's personal servant, Madan Lal, be brought out to the center of the royal court. With the entire court watching, Naina drops a devastating narrative bomb. She exposes the exact secret she uncovered during her midnight reconnaissance. The queen has been carrying on a years-long affair with this very servant, right under the king's nose. Then she delivers her checkmate logic. If the king is completely blind to what his own wife is doing inside his own palace, he has no intellectual right to demand what a hidden fish does underwater. Riddle solving and abstract knowledge are empty pursuits for a leader who cannot see the obvious truths within their own walls.